Next on The Broadway Show, totally famous Cameron Crowe joins us to talk about rebooting his iconic film to bring Almost Famous to Broadway. Plus, Eaten Alive. Lena Hall is here to tell us her favorite part about living and dying as Audrey in Little Shop of Horrors. And we're going large with Annette Bening. She's on the show to chat about a one-night-only reading of a new play and much more. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is The Broadway Show.
The leaves are changing, so are the marquees. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is The Broadway Show. Get ready to rock. Almost Famous is here. It's Cameron Crowe's autobiographical road trip musical based on his iconic film from 2000. And here's Paul Wontorek with the story.
Thanks, Tamsen. Cameron Crowe is a master at creating iconic moments on the big screen. Now Almost Famous has arrived on stage. I welcomed him to Broadway at the iconic Theater District haunt Sardi's. We're at Sardi's because you're a Broadway name now. How does that feel?
Wild. When you say it, it feels pretty good. It's a great world to be a part of, for sure. I mean, I love our cast. I'm there every day. They can't get rid of me.
For so many years, I have asked actors, which movie do you want to see become a musical? And I have heard Almost Famous, and I've heard many actresses say that they want to play Penny Lane. I mean, that was part of it. Were you aware of this? Were you aware that there was such a desire to see Almost Famous on Broadway?
Not really. I mean, people asked from time to time over the years, but it's really like the movie kept clicking upwards in terms of people seeing it again or remembering it. And over time, that's mostly all I hear about from stuff that I've done. And people take it so personally, and they're always music lovers. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's natural that we can create an atmosphere that's filled with music where you kind of like feel the elixir when you walk in, and the musical can make you feel the way the movie hopefully made you feel.
The sun has just begun to shine my way. I can feel it. Oh, I can feel it. I can feel
it. What's cool about this show is that there are a few very well-placed, recognizable rock songs.
Yeah.
But this is an original score. It honors the period while being completely original, while also being theatrical and properly telling the story. I feel like you had to be nervous about getting the music element right. And you didn't want to make it a jukebox musical. You didn't want to make it a pure greatest hits of the era.
No, I love Jersey Boys. I thought Jersey Boys was great and really well written. But for some reason, Almost Famous felt like there was a challenge to kind of look forward and look back. So it wasn't such a kind of nostalgia explosion. That it's kind of like some people that loved music are gonna come together and craft a world where maybe you didn't know that was an Elton John song or not. Oh, I recognized Tiny Dancer. I recognized Cat Stevens song, but like that's a song that, wait a minute, did I? And I love that game, and Tom Kitt was born to make that happen. He has such heart and enthusiasm, and he came in and was just so openly loving of Almost Famous. And he said, I really want this job, it's my dream. And I'm like, your dream is realized, let's go. And we've had such a great experience writing lyrics, but also just kind of channeling the feeling of the day. That little time before everything got super mainstreamed. To see Elton John or Joni Mitchell or Cat Stevens, you'd go to a place like our theater where we have the musical now. So it felt authentic that we would create that world. And that music 50 years later is still relevant.
Joni Mitchell came to your opening actually out in California. Did you get the thumbs up from Joni?
Paul, I was terrified. I've loved writing about her for a long time. I kind of like, when I was at Rolling Stone, that was my domain. I was like, I'm gonna plant a flag and write about Joni Mitchell as much as you let me. And she let us have a river. She let us have a river for the movie of Almost Famous, but then for the musical, she let us have it too. And then we got word that she was coming.
She doesn't make that many appearances.
No, and she was still recovering from an aneurysm that was pretty tough for her. But there she was. The SUV door opens, and here's Joni Mitchell coming to your musical, and it's just like it's giddy and it's terrifying. I've seen her in situations where people covered her music in front of her, And if it doesn't quite hit the note for her, she won't tell you that it did. She'll be very pleasant and noble and wonderful, but you'll be waiting for something extra, it may not come. So when she saw Almost Famous, the first thing she said is, it's better than the movie. And she's been talking about it ever since, Paul, which is wild. I've done some work with her archival releases, and she can't wait to come see it here.
Let's talk about the story and why people love it so much. What do you think people latch onto about sort of this thing you created all those years ago and won an Oscar for, by the way, for the screenplay? But what do you think has made it so endearing and enduring?
I'm honored by your question. It's truly great, and I'm lucky to even be asked that question. I've thought about it recently, and I think it's because the characters are based on real people. So sometimes when I watch the show, I get lost in it. I get lost in the real people, and I remember them very vividly. And Anika Larson is my mom. Anika channels the teacher in my mom, because my mom, as teachers can be, they're always teaching. And that was my mom. Don't take drugs. You can't take drugs. Your brain cells are so valuable. Don't ruin them. And so when she'd get a hold of a rock star on the telephone, for example, she'd be teaching. That's Anika, and she cracks me up and makes me cry some nights and stuff, most nights. Casey is me on my best day. Kind of funny and effervescent, and I love what Casey does. But even the band members and Penny Lane, they scratch at something truly real for me, and I think hopefully that translates to people. They don't feel like concoctions.
I love to imagine that you have this show on Broadway and you can sit there in the theater and have this intensely personal experience every night with these actors you love. It's kind of beautiful. I hope to look across the orchestra and see you sitting there having your moments.
Sometimes people sitting in front of me will turn around when it's over and I'll be like this and they'll be like, "Are you okay?" "Oh wait, that's the guy." "You signed this playbill?" I'm like, "Yeah." "It's okay, it doesn't have to make you cry." They're like, "But you crying makes me cry." So it gets messy, in the best way.
Want to see more of this interview? Head over to Broadway.com for an extended version.
Annette Bening is a Tony nominee, an Oscar nominee, a Broadway star, a movie star, an icon. And this month, she's starring in a one-night-only benefit reading of the new play, Griswold.
It's so exciting to see you come back to the stage. And I feel like anybody who's been on Broadway always has that urge to come back. And I think this is right around your debut of 35 years ago, right?
Yes, you're right. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that's right. 35 years ago. That's when I first was in a show in New York. Yeah.
So what brought you back this time? What made you come back?
Well, what's happening is there's an abortion advocacy group that was created in New York City by a group of theater artists called A is For. And so together with the Playhouse Creatures Theater Company, they are producing this reading that we're doing of this play called Griswold. This play dramatizes the life and the work of this woman, Estelle Griswold, who I have the honor of playing. And I've really learned a lot even just working on the play so far. So she engineered her own criminal arrest, which then resulted in the landmark Supreme Court case, which established the right for sexual privacy and directly paves the way for all the other guarantees of liberty, including the right of same-sex couples to marry. So it's this amazing woman, incredibly important case, and it's the coming together of these two organizations, A is For and the Playhouse Creatures Theater Company, who are dedicated to activism and art activism.
Her story is so incredible because she orchestrated her own arrest. Do you ever want, I always wonder, how did somebody come up with that was going to be the way to make change? I don't know that anybody, a lot of people don't think like that. And so I always find that backstory of the story so fascinating.
Exactly. Yes. And that's really what the play dramatizes in the most kind of vivid way, is that she was an advocate for contraception and reproductive rights for women. And so she knew that she had to get it into the courts. And she figured out that the only way to do that was basically to get herself arrested.
I think it's also fascinating her age when she did it, because I feel like oftentimes, women hit 50 years old and, they're like, am I invisible? Am I not seen? Am I, I'm in my midlife right now. And those were a lot of the fears I went through. But to hear somebody doing that, when she could have just said, well, somebody else can handle this and do this. But she was out there and put herself up front. I think that was a really special part of it for me too, upon hearing her story.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. There's so much stigma around women and aging, and all of it is really created by a culture. And we, as women who have our voices and have our experience and have our professional experience and our personal experience, need to remember that that isn't necessarily true for us, that we can feel this great sense of empowerment. And really, in a way, one becomes more free as one gets older, yes, because you're not kind of saddled with a lot of the same concerns that you had when you were younger, maybe. It's so important that we not take on that message of feeling somehow ashamed for our age. It's really, it's a myth. It's just such nonsense. And now we have that opportunity more than ever as women to just dump that garbage and live our lives in the way that we feel is authentic and give voice to things that matter to us.
I'm playing the lottery and I won $15,000.
Why didn't you just tell me?
We barely have enough money to retire on. This is no time to risk it.
Yes, it is.
What?
No matter what you do it with grace. But I was flipping through and I did see Jerry and Marge go large. And being a news person, I was familiar with the story of the real couple. And I was just curious about that. I mean, that looked just like a really great role to play. And Bryan Cranston is, he's just a favorite of mine through the years, and also, obviously a fellow Broadway actor as well.
Oh, he's amazing. It's a true story about this couple from Michigan, and Jerry is a numbers whiz. He was looking at the lottery and the rules for the lottery, and he noticed that there was a flaw in the way that it was constructed. And that turned into a 10-year project where he and his wife, I play Marge, his wife, and they brought in their family, they brought in their community, and they would go and buy huge amounts of lottery tickets. They didn't cheat. That's what's so important, and it's important for them. They always wanted us to emphasize that. They didn't cheat. They found a flaw. Jerry found a flaw. They and their friends and this whole group that they were a part of made millions and millions and millions of dollars. Yeah, it's just a great story.
I loved it. What was a real couple like to meet? I was curious because I saw the pictures at the end, and I fell in love with them when I originally heard this story. So
we went and met them before we made the movie, and they're just down to earth Midwesterners. Their personalities are kind of a little bit reverse than what we did in the film. Marge is so incredible. I came from the Midwest, and my parents are from the Midwest, and she reminds me of so many of my relatives. She was completely unimpressed with being the focus of attention. Jerry's a little bit more he enjoys it a little bit more, talking about it, and he's just this brilliant guy. She doesn't need that. And in a way that I completely respected. In the movie, we only have a couple kids. In real life, they had 6 children. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and she ran a tight ship. Her daughter told me all about it. We laughed.
You have to.
Oh my God, we sat on the back porch and just talked and laughed. And she made their clothes. She sewed their coats. I mean, her house was immaculate.
Real quick, we're excited to tell you about our new podcast, The Broadway Show Uncut, a new episode every week featuring our complete extended interviews with a lot of the stars you see right here on the broadcast. The Broadway Show Uncut, available now wherever you get your podcasts. The Broadway Show is back in just a sec. Feed Me Seymour, it's maybe the best off-Broadway show of all time. We're talking about Little Shop of Horrors. And right now, Tony Award winner Lena Hall is playing Audrey. Here's Charlie Cooper with more.
Thanks, Tamsin. Lena Hall has arrived on Skid Row. I spoke with her here at Citizen Emma Hotel. So Lena, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You're taking on this role of Audrey in Little Shop of Horrors off Broadway. It's a story that everyone is familiar with, but what was it about Audrey and her role that kind of spoke to you?
The show, I've known it since I was a kid. I watched the movie, and that was the only version that I actually knew going into this. So when Michael Mayer was like, hey, would you ever want to play Audrey in Little Shop? I was like, yeah. Based solely on the movie and the soundtrack that I knew, which was the movie soundtrack. And so when I came into the show, I had Ellen Green's version in my head so very strongly. And then my first day of rehearsal, I saw the show that night for the first time, and I thought, oh, okay. So there's so many different ways to play this character. She's really, really layered. She's not a ditz. She's very much vulnerable and she's kind of strong from having, grown up in Skid Row. And so just from that alone, I was really excited. A lot of people were like, oh, this is such a different role for her. And I was like, I don't know, actually, now looking it on the page, knowing the role better, it's in my wheelhouse because it's really just a damaged person who has hopes and dreams and holds on to those even though they're pretty unattainable. Bringing in my edginess to it was a lot less important. So even singing the score, like I'll dirty it up a little bit here and there, but really the songs are so beautifully written. What Alan Menken and Howard Ashman wrote are on the page are so important for the show itself that I have to stop myself from wanting to do the Lena Hall thing with it or whatever. Like the three girls, the urchins, they can go off more because that's more on brand for them. But for this character, it's much more restrained. You get the moment to shine, but it's not quite, I think, what people might be thinking of like the end of Hedwig, where I was allowed carte blanche to do whatever I wanted, and it became insane at the end. Like I was holding notes forever, and I was doing these crazy riffs and crazy high notes and whatever, but that was appropriate for that character at that moment for that show. It worked. This is so much different,
Was there anything that you did to prepare to kind of get back into the groove of being on stage?
Nothing prepares you to get back into the groove of an 8-show week. My body hurts a lot, and when I sleep, I have nightmares. The prep is all in the character work.
Was there a specific song? Was there a specific moment? Is there a specific moment in the show that just is the thing for you?
Is it a spoiler alert? Well, I hope it's not, because when I get eaten by the plant.
Yeah.
It is literally, they should sell tickets to be eaten by the plant because it is so much fun. It's like a little ride that you go on when you get eaten by the plant. I get to die. This is the first time I've gotten to do a death scene, which is just so much fun. Honestly, it is so much fun to die on stage every night. Someone grabs your ankles and pulls you through the plant, and it's like a ride. You're like, ah! The thing comes down on you. Honestly, gotta sell tickets.
Get ready to bow down to the Queens of Six, the musical. The royalty of this pop concert extravaganza is headed your way. We catch up with the stars.
We are hitting cities, bam, 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 bam. It's a story that everybody needs to hear because it's about telling your story and being empowered to tell your story from your perspective. And that's what we get to do from our Queen's perspective.
It's an experience unlike any other. It's a retelling of history through a woman's lens, and it's just an empowering show that reminds you to be yourself despite what other people think you are.
You're getting, powerful messages, you're getting joy, you're getting choreo, you're getting glitter, you're getting confetti. It's just so stimulating, emotionally and intellectually.
During the times that we've been dealing with right now, joy is essential. And this musical embodies joy.
The first line in the show is "Welcome to our Divorce Beheaded Life tour," right? It is written as a band that's traveling the world playing their, Spice Girls show. So to be able to go to like Austin, Nashville, New Orleans, Detroit, like we're playing these, Las Vegas, come on, like we're playing these music cities where I'm like, hell yeah, like we are the Spice Girls, like we are getting to be these pop stars.
It's a pop concert. It's just a good time. It's colorful, it's electric, and there's something for everyone. You're gonna love it.
We get to bring the party to y'all, and we can't wait to share the stage and share the auditorium with y'all.
And that's going to do it for us. Until next time, I'm Tamsen Fidel, and this is The Broadway Show.